Penguin Random House Audio presents Rooms for Vanishing, a novel, by Stuart Nadler. Read for you by Mark Bramhall, Orla Cassidy, Kathleen Gatty, and Bruce Mann. For Chemise. Kindertotenlieder, London, 1979. Sonia. Oh, I had tried to reach her before. That was never the problem. I was always trying to reach her, to talk with her, to be nearer to her, to experience her visitations more completely. But when I grew close, which I often did, she wasn't there. If anyone ever bothered to ask me what happened then in the darkness as I lay waiting for my child to come home, to return to me, to appear to me as she had in life, I would have told that person the truth, which is that she goes away. She goes. She goes. As she should have. I never expected otherwise. Not really. The truth was that she had been going from the moment she was first here with me. When she was born, she was calm, like a woman in middle age having already been told the terrible news. This is life, beware, no one gets out unscathed. On the morning of her 9th birthday, I found her outside in the sun speaking aloud to someone who wasn't there. And when she came inside, finally, after an hour of this, she told me it was my mother she was speaking to. My first mother, shot dead beside a train in a forest, 990 miles northwest of my house in London, and that my mother had been asking after my well-being, that she had come to talk, after all this time among the dead, and my daughter told my mother that she was looking after me, but not for long. Others would have to do it soon because she was going too, she said, just like everyone else had. We have no power to stop this rushing off into other heavens, do we? Later I had to ask Anya, did she say anything else? Did my mother tell you anything more? This was near Paris, in the small house we went to, a place I could not afford, a place I detested. The old wisdom says that when a child dies, the child dies having known everything, having received all knowledge. During those final months, someone said this to me. It was the case then that people very frequently pulled me aside into strange corners to tell me ghastly things like this. And it was also the case that I found myself asking ghastly things of my child. For instance, this question, which I asked in the back garden, while bees hovered. They were bees that Anya understood somehow would not sting her, but would only sting me. Part of this new wisdom was to understand the amount of suffering a mother had to endure. Did she say anything else? I asked again, and Anya looked to me and said, what was her name? And I said my mother's name was Vanya, and she said, this is a very pretty name, Vanya, and I said, I remember almost nothing about her but the name, and she said, this is something your mother told me, and I asked her to repeat this, and she said, your mother says you probably remember nothing, that she is a shadow to you. The opposite of reason is not always the same as a lie. Doctors had given Anya medicine, and the medicine was making her hallucinate, and the combination of the medicine and the hallucinations was making her talk about my dead mother. This is what Franz was always reminding me, that the drugs had powerful consequences. But I hated Franz very much then, and I did not care for the truth. Everyone, after all, was dying everywhere, and I was not dying anywhere but there in the garden, in the city's heat. I dressed as if I were mourning months before I needed to, and I never stopped. There are separate rooms, Anya said, when I pressed her to describe how it was she got to talk to my mother. Separate rooms like separate trains. I am on one side of the wall, you are on the other side of the wall. I am on one train, you are on the other train. What don't you get, Mamma? Separate rooms, separate trains. The day before, Anya and I had played hide-and-seek, and when she could not find me, when she grew too tired to keep looking, I said, I am on one side of the wall, you are on the other side of the wall. Move through the wall, Anya had said. Move through the wall, Mamma. and I told her it doesn't work that way. "Close your eyes," she said, "and move through the wall, Mama. Just try. It's not that hard. Vanya does it all the time." She goes, she goes, she goes. The last trace of living I saw in her, we were holding her, passing her between us as if this was what she needed, what was prescribed to her by doctors, to be moved between her parents shared in love, offered our silent benedictions, when in fact it was us who needed the holy intercession. A mirror of her birth, all of us in this room, holding her. In the moments immediately after, we were visited by a profound quiet, an absence of all sound, and I am sure this was the noise of her passing over. "Are you in there?" Franz asked her at some point, "or have you gone already?" We were young. It was late, and July. She had come as a surprise. We were students, very much unprepared to become parents. After it was over, really over, he stood over her body. "I do not believe it," he said. "I refuse to believe any of this is possible." All of this is embarrassing to admit. All this business of anticipating the dead, putting one's ear against a wall and expecting voices. I was always in the process of embarrassing myself, or revealing to myself some new territory of embarrassment that I had not yet discovered. It was, others had told me, a problem of sensitivity, a problem of the times, a consequence of my personal history. I go back to these moments, if only to remind myself of what happened and what did not. And what happened was this. My husband had gone missing. It had been days, 2 days, 3 days, I had not slept, and it had become difficult to judge the time. He was a conductor of an orchestra here in London, not one of the very famous ones or even one of the very good ones, but one successful enough that he occasionally appeared on television, looking appropriately bewildered, or in the pages of the various newspapers, whose readers cared about the obsolete arts. He'd been at the concert hall, the last I knew. It had been an ordinary evening. He'd left before supper, as always, already in his dress slacks. A car came to retrieve him. Near 8, I listened to him on the radio, which was something I used to like to do. Our last moments together were rushed. I took him by the shoulders. We'd suffered an unsettling encounter recently, and I thought he might want me to come with him, if only to try to forget about it all for a few hours. This encounter was all we'd talked about lately, but I am getting ahead of myself. He didn't want me to come. "You'll hate it," he said, meaning the concert, the music he was conducting, the graveyard air of the concert hall. That last day, Franz seemed taller, I thought. He was always physically very lovely, even when he was young and stupid. "You have been good to me," he said. "Well, you are very easy to please," I told him. "I can always tell when you are unhappy." I thought I was telling the truth when I said this. I'd always believed I knew him better than I did. He put his hands against my cheeks and kissed me, and then he was gone. When he did not return by his normal time that night, I figured it was because there was some official dinner or event I had forgotten about. It was autumn, the beginning of the season, and this was not uncommon. I'd long stopped paying close attention to the endless cycle of benefactors and begging that attended his job. When he was not there in the morning, I thought I must have slept through his arrival, and his leaving, his coming and going. By that afternoon, it was obvious something terrible had happened. His assistant Jonathan called to ask whether I had seen him. He had not come to work. The players were waiting. "We think maybe he's confused his schedule," Jonathan said. "Maybe he thinks we are meeting in Fulham," he told me, which was where the orchestra occasionally rehearsed. But we went to Fulham, and we couldn't find him. "He has not been himself lately," Jonathan admitted, which hurt me to hear. I'd thought Franz would have been able to hide himself from his colleagues. "Do you have any idea of what might have happened? Or where he might be?" Jonathan asked. I was in our kitchen. This was Stamford Hill, Dunsmuir Road, a Tuesday morning in October. Out the back window, children were playing a game in which one of them was a monster and the others were...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?